Vince McMahon purchased the WWE from his father, Vince McMahon Sr., when I was 5 years old. Fast forward 42 years later, here we sit on January 27th, 2024, and Vince McMahon is gone from the WWE forever. What's going on, guys? Good mic work. Back at you with your third exclusive mic drop of the week. It's been a busy one. Coming at you at about 1 a.m. here on the West Coast. This is about as late as I've ever had my pro light on in my face. But I wanted to come up and acknowledge a very, very significant moment in wrestling history that transpired just about an hour or so after I completed my podcast this afternoon, where we predicted the Royal Rumble and we followed up on the Vince McMahon lawsuit. And in today's video, or yesterday's video, I urged a swift response. I said TKO cannot let this drag out. I kind of gave them a Monday deadline, but I really said this needed to be done yesterday. And right before SmackDown went live, or maybe during the show, I believe it was Fightful Select that first broke the story, and it was corroborated by many others, that Vince McMahon has resigned from WWE again, but this time he will be gone for good. This, of course, is on the heels of the massive sexual abuse and sex trafficking lawsuit filed this past Thursday by Janelle Grant, where she accuses Vince McMahon of some pretty horrible things. And of course, we were here on Thursday when this story first broke, and we were reading through paragraphs of the 67-page lawsuit, and it was extremely graphic, and we were pulling no punches on that episode. We were letting it all hang out, and we were reading it all. We're not going to do that here. We didn't do it today. It's disgusting. You can read it if you want. It's online, and it's easy to find. But the graphic nature of all of those details paint Vince in about as horrible of a light as you can possibly paint someone. And with this merger recently taking place and WWE actually selling and Vince McMahon taking less power, he still remained on as a chairman. And of course, everything that took place from 2022 up until now, Janelle Grant was the woman who was at the center of that initial Wall Street Journal report that led to Vince's first resignation. So the timeline of events that happened between then and now has been a wild ride, but WWE's merger with Endeavor, forming TKO, and even this past week, just a few days ago, there was a massive story, two massive stories involving WWE, one with The Rock joining the board of directors in TKO and acquiring the rights and the trademark to his name, and also WWE Raw signing up with Netflix for a potentially 20-year deal, which is going to be some insane money and very lucrative and profitable for the company. So they had a huge week, and then bam, just overnight. Not that we didn't know these things about Vince McMahon, but that story broke about the lawsuit, and then it was in full-blown, probably panic mode and a lot of chaos and, of course, damage control. And I think the first thing that needed to be done was Vince needed to be gone. So I don't know who was calling him, probably everybody, or how this all went down, but I don't know how Vince expected to be able to stay on after this. And, of course, what the lawsuit alleges is pretty awful, and it's criminal. John Laurinaitis is named in this thing as well, and it also alludes to a few other people that could be involved. And if that goes to a criminal trial, or Vince is criminally charged, he's going to have a whole nother slew of problems to worry about. But in terms of WWE now, as we talked about in the last two episodes, this, in my mind, kind of needs to be like a deep cleanse for them. And as much as I don't want to think of WWE losing some of its key people, anybody that enabled this behavior or knew about it or participated in any cover-up needs to be gone too. This needs to be the ultimate rebirth of the WWE. This is what I was talking about today. I said the first step is getting Vince out, and then if you just do a deep cleanse, and you can repair and just shed those 4 or 5 decades of scandal and abuse and just really, really ugly black eyes. I don't know how Vince survived. Think back now to those Bob Costas interviews and how poorly those aged, how poorly everything this fucking guy did aged. I was in the crowd on the birth of the Kiss Your Ass Club. I was there to watch William Regal's lips touch the disgusting ass of Vince McMahon. My entire life has been really enjoying WWE's product, although I've been critical from time to time throughout the years. I've ultimately really enjoyed not only WWE, but pro wrestling. And I think, fans are finding themselves really conflicted right now because we have the Royal Rumble. Happy Royal Rumble morning, by the way. You guys going to stop by my crib tonight and watch Royal Rumble with me? We're doing the watch party. It's going to be fun. But I don't blame anybody who would feel a little bit conflicted right now. And there probably are a lot of fans who don't have the obligation of YouTube like myself that probably are a little bit turned off. And that might turn away people, and it might not necessarily turn them to AEW. It might, but it might just turn them off from wrestling completely, because any wrestling might be just a reminder of that. And maybe it's just not something people want to think about. Either way, it's just not good for WWE. And this is sad for us because it's not our fault. It's not our fault. Vince McMahon is a piece of shit. And I've been trying to tell myself that even though there are probably some people in the company that need to go, even if that person just happens to be a pretty damn good booker, that's the case. It needs to happen. I don't want it to happen. I think Triple H is doing a tremendous job, but if it's revealed and if they proceed with any further investigations and it's determined that Triple H knew more than he should, he is Vince's son-in-law, although he can claim, that hopefully that they don't really talk. Shane McMahon and Vince have had a falling out throughout the years, and apparently Shane McMahon wasn't a big fan of Vince McMahon's behavior. I can't imagine Stephanie was either, and who knows what Linda fucking thinks. So Vince McMahon might just be the tip of the iceberg here, and that's really scary, and that's really sad, and that's really fucked up that he even had to be this way and put the company and pro wrestling in this position in the first place. And you would think, as hard as he fought for his company, for his brand, that he would also do everything in his power to ensure that it has a respectable legacy to live up to. And he's been a dirty piece of shit going all the way back to the Jimmy Snuka stuff, to the Rita Chatterton stuff, the years and years of infidelity, and the minimum of 4 women that he paid upwards of $12 to $14 million in hush money and NDA agreements to, and all the ones in between that could potentially now come forward, especially if these NDAs are nullified and more stuff comes out as dirty and disgusting as all of the details were outlined in that lawsuit. Imagine how much worse it could get. Now, Nick Khan sent out an internal memo to some staff in WWE that said, and I quote, "I wanted to inform you that Vince McMahon tendered his resignation from his positions as TKO executive chairman and on the TKO board of directors. He will no longer have a role with TKO Group Holdings or WWE." And what's interesting about this statement and this memo is that in the last one, they thanked Vince McMahon. Stephanie McMahon led a thank you Vince chant on SmackDown, and Vince even appeared a few times to have a farewell and all that crap. That's not going to happen now. They're just getting him out. And that's step one, is removing the fucking tumor. And now hopefully it hasn't infected too much of the company to where if you do have to do a sweep through and a cleanse and you have to fire a lot of key components to your company, hopefully that's not too damaging to your product, and you might have to weigh some of those things. In Triple H's case, he's like, what the fuck do you want me to do, man? I know he's a piece of shit. We've all known that. I didn't know about the specifics. I didn't know he was shitting on heads and whatnot, but I definitely knew he had women and he had mistresses. We all kind of fucking knew that. The fans knew that. How could you not? But I don't know where the line is drawn, for guilt, once you are aware of criminal behavior. And if Triple H is sitting there knowing that Vince McMahon is passing around an office girl to other people and he's aware of this and he's not helping her, then I'm sorry. I don't want, for the sake of the WWE product, I don't want Triple H to go, but he might have to go. 1 year's time, we might see Triple H booking AEW. Who the fuck knows, man? you can't rule anything out at this point, because this could just be the beginning of the snowball in WWE. And I just hope it doesn't crash them too hard. They might have to retreat to move forward if they have to just make some humongous changes. Hopefully it's something that they can bounce back from. They are a machine. But at the same time, I'm not sure who could really step in. If you canned everybody that was associated with Vince McMahon and his inner circle, and you're getting rid of Bruce and Triple H and everybody else, who the hell takes over and books this shit? I'm busy, so I can't do it. Vince McMahon also issued a statement to Deadline, I believe, where he basically calls her a liar, but also says, out of respect for TKO and WWE, I have agreed to resign from my executive chairmanship and the TKO board of directors effective immediately. So Vince knows that this is it, and it's just such a whimper for him. Like, this is how he's going to go out, a disgraced fucking scumbag. You get what you deserve in life, but it's certainly a big day for wrestling. This is a monumental occasion. I mean, we've kind of been preparing ourselves for it in the last couple of years, ever since Vince first resigned. And that was weird enough, where we said, wow, Vince is really gone. But then he pulled the power play to get him back in. And then the merger happened. And that was really the beginning of the end for Vince. And we've been waiting for it, because we know Vince was served with a federal search warrant like last summer. So we don't even know what that was about. It could have been about this. And there could be a lot more implications coming for Vince, and that would just be such a crazy end if he winds up going the way of a Bill Cosby or a Harvey Weinstein or a Jeff Epstein or somebody like that, or perhaps a former president that might all find themselves behind bars. And I wouldn't have the least bit of sympathy for him if it happened. It just sucks. It just sucks. It's ugly, and it's unbelievably obscene, what we learned in the last couple of days. But I am going to try, as I'm sure you guys are as well, to enjoy the Royal Rumble tonight. There's a lot of wrestlers, there's a lot of good people in the company that work there, staff and talent, that are genuine, good, honest people that had nothing to do with this, that aren't a complete piece of shit and are just there trying to work, trying to support their families. I'm going to be thinking about them. Going to try my best to also have some fun today. Let's try to kick back and try to put some of this ugliness out of our head, at least for one night, even though we're watching the very same product, and this cloud is just going to be hanging over it. I think tonight has a potential to be a lot of fun, and hopefully WWE creatively have not had to make too many alterations to their plans, because I'm really curious about that Brock Lesnar stuff. And if WWE is going to pull him from Royal Rumble, I would assume they would have to. I think it would be a bad look if he came out. I think he would get a lot of boos. I think that would create the wrong kind of buzz on social media. So if I'm WWE, he's got to be pulled from that. And then we will see after that. Hopefully Triple H is able to do his job, and there's probably a lot of people in that company right now walking around on eggshells wondering if there could be more, especially, people like Triple H, who we thought was about to take the reins and lead this company and, for the next 20 years, to where he might not have a job on Monday. We don't know. It's it sucks for us too, because how that's going to affect formative entertainment that we love, even though sometimes it ain't pretty, man. So thoughts go out to Janelle Grant and anyone who has been victimized or abused or treated like a piece of shit by Vince McMahon, or anyone for that matter. Any woman who has had to go through anything even close to the level of abuse that Miss Grant did, my heart goes out to you, because it's absolutely horrific and horrid. And anyone who does that should be held to ultimate accountability. And I think that's what it's about now for WWE moving forward, just consequences and accountability, and just trying to move past this and shed the Vince stink off the company and just move forward. And that's going to be good for us in a lot of ways too. We might have a little murky swamp to kind of get through here, but hopefully brighter days are ahead. I wish this was all going on in like September and October, and we could get through all this crap by the end of the year, and then maybe by the new year, it could be like a new beginning. But no, we're stuck right in the middle of Mania season, and a Mania season that we've all been pretty excited about. And now we don't know how that's going to be affected by all this either. But mark it on your calendars. Just 4 days after the 40-year anniversary of the birth of Hulkamania, we see the career death of Vince McMahon, and he is now unemployed. For the first time, whatever, or since he was a kid, I guess. What's he going to do? What is he going to do? I don't really care, to be honest. So anyway, I talked way longer than I intended, but I thought I had to get this out. Thank you for watching, and happy Royal Rumble Saturday. Hope to see you guys tonight on the watch party, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Peace.